We begin Local 4 News at 5 with a severe weather alert. A long line of damaging storms pushing through Metro Detroit right now.
And in fact, we've already seen a number of warnings, and it's not over just yet.
Yeah, right now DTE says 67,000 customers are without power, and that number is sure to grow. So let's get right to Ben and get the very latest. Ben?
Yeah, Stephen, Sandra, we have heard reports, especially out of Genesee County, of trees down on cars, trees down on houses. And this entire line, of course, has been advancing into southeast Michigan, which has seen a lot of sunshine, a lot of humidity, and a lot of heat. So there are definitely fuel for these storms that are out there right now. Let's go to Storm Tracker 4, and you can see that long line starting to move in from the west. And we've been watching that all day from these storms that have popped over in West Michigan. Here are some of the stronger cells that we're tracking. They're moving off to the northeast at about 54 miles per hour. Almont, you're pretty much on top of it as we speak. Imlay City, you're going to see at least the worst of that in about 8 minutes. And you can see further off to the south, we're going to see another round of those storms go over some of the same spots, and that could start to become a problem. We didn't think that the rain was going to be much of an issue, but with the tropical moisture and the direction of these storms, look at what's going on down in Washtenaw County. We've got one severe thunderstorm that's moving off to the northeast there. And again, straight line winds will be the biggest threat, but you can see that there are multiple storms that are going over the same areas more than once. And even though these are moving at a pretty good clip, it's that multiple rounds of storms that could be causing flooding problems, at least in a couple isolated spots. So that is the bigger picture here. The bottom line on these storms is between now and 9 o'clock. That's the severe window we're watching, and it's everybody in southeast Michigan. The good news is once that strong line moves through, we're going to be pretty much done. But those damaging winds could approach hurricane force before we're done. We'll continue to track these throughout the show, guys.
All right, thank you, Ben. Let's get outside and see what's happening out there. Tim Pamplin is chasing the storm.
And Tim, I know you're in Auburn Hills. You just saw some pretty strong wind rolling through in that area.
It got very scary there for a moment, Sandra and Steve. As I pan around here, you'll see what I just went through. That's pretty ominous looking, heading towards Rochester Hills and Macomb County. Now I'm looking, if I pan around this way, this is southwest. This is looking towards southwest Ann Arbor direction. This is looking west. That's where the storms are going to be rolling in from. We just had one come through here. Very heavy rains, very heavy winds. In fact, the landfill up there, I saw debris, garbage actually flying up the landfill. They're up there. I actually just saw a bulldozer up there working feverishly to try and cover all the garbage up. But again, we're in a prime position here, up high, looking down southwest as the storms roll by. We'll keep you covered all evening. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you, Tim. And as we told you off the top, 67,000 DTE customers are without power. And as this storm continues to move through, they say that there are things that you can do right now to try to stay prepared.
Yeah, you want to think ahead. Charge your cell phones, first off. Have extra battery packs available. Have an emergency kit ready. Flashlights, candles, a battery-powered radio. DTE will have crews working throughout the night. By the way, if you do see a downed power line near your home, stay at least 20 feet away.
It is extremely critical that they do not go anywhere near that down power line. Just because the line is on the ground does not mean that it is de-energized. And we ask that you treat all of those lines as though they still have energy in them.
And DTE says their crews are taking extra measures to keep people safe because of the pandemic, including washing equipment between every job. But they say because of coronavirus, please don't call unless it's an emergency.
And with the severe weather threat, you want to download the Local Forecasters app. Of course, it provides live radar and up-to-the-minute alerts right in the palm of your hand. You can download it for free in your app store. Just search WDIV.
All right, let's turn to downtown Detroit and day 13 of protests to honor the memory of George Floyd.
Jason Colthorpe is live as the march is already underway. Jason?
Yeah, Sandra, weather is not going to stop the march here for a 13th straight day, but it is going to impact it. They left early, and they are going to march for a much shorter distance because of weather, which has already started to roll in as they approach Hart Plaza here downtown. The rain coming in, and you can see the cloud cover is very heavy. Now, if the crowd looks smaller, it definitely is, and of course that could be impacted by the weather, but I've also talked to co-organizers today who say they've noticed that too. They've seen the dwindling numbers, and that's why this protest is going to take 2 days off. There won't be a march tomorrow or Friday. Instead, they're going to refocus, re-energize, give a lot of these folks a break who've been out here every single day. and come back for a bigger event on Saturday. So we'll be following all of that. For now, we're live downtown Detroit. Jason Coulthorpe, Local 4.
All right, thank you, Jason. Our other top story tonight, police dash cam video shedding new light tonight into the rough arrest of an Amazon delivery driver in Warren.
Part of the incident was recorded on cell phone video, but we're now getting a glimpse at the incident from the other perspective, police dash cam video. Victor Williams has this report.
With everything that's going on in the world today, when people first saw this video, they were very heated, understandably so, but now we're starting to get new video from the perspective of a Warren police officer making that arrest. It's the video sparking outrage all over social media, showing an Amazon driver being manhandled by the cops after making a delivery. But Warren Police Commissioner Bill Dwyer says there's another side to the arrest.
The officer had a legal reason to contact the driver as he was parked illegally.
Newly released dash cam footage shows the arresting officer doing just that.
Get your license. Good. You're on the wrong side of the road.
The Warren officer continuously asks for ID in a back-and-forth conversation where the driver continuously refuses.
The driver became argumentative and refused multiple requests for his license. In fact, he refused 11 times. The officer took the driver to the ground to gain control of him and the situation for everyone's safety before it escalated further. The driver was charged with resisting and obstructing a police officer, failure to obey a lawful command, and failure to produce a driver's license.
He was also issued a citation for illegally parking. Amazon has sent us this statement regarding what happened, which reads, "We see what others see in these videos and it's unacceptable. We expect a swift investigation and full accountability for all those involved. Amazon will deploy all necessary resources to investigate the matter with our delivery service provider, as well as to represent and support the driver." In the meantime, the police department is being firm about pursuing charges.
If he would have just merely the first, second, or third time produced the license and worked with the officer, he probably would have got a warning.
And at this point, that police officer has been placed on paid administrative leave until the investigation is complete. Victor Williams, Local 4.
And Commissioner Dwyer, we should point out, says the officer approached the Amazon driver based on a neighborhood complaint about delivery trucks being parked incorrectly. And we're also told the issue came up at a recent city council meeting as well.
A moving tribute today as Detroit police said their final goodbyes to one of their own.
Officer Waldus Johnson was shot in the line of duty back in 2017 and was never able to recover, dying from his injuries late last month. Our Grant Herms was there today as Officer Johnson was laid to rest.
Johnson was a veteran of the force, frequently commended for working with the community, and today, as protests continue over police brutality in Detroit, they served as a backdrop for the service for the 14-year veteran and his sacrifice. The ceremony was moving, filled with singing, praise, and somber moments of reflection.
All units stand by for a moment of radio silence.
In 2017, Officer Waldus Johnson was shot in the head during a shootout while responding to a domestic violence situation. He spent the next 3 years in the hospital, unable to speak or move. He died on May 31st. Inside the Unity Baptist Church, those in the force who knew Johnson spoke about his love of life and his drive of service for his community.
He just said, we have to police this community because we are DPD and I love what I do and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability.
As an African-American officer, friends said the challenges of the job were never lost on Johnson, and the nationwide protests and calls for sweeping changes to policing were present during the funeral. The Chief of Staff to Detroit City Council President using the pulpit to denounce the push to defund police departments.
Those who want to defund the police, they need to be sitting in here today. And they need to see the type of sacrifice that a true American hero makes.
But most of the day was a celebration of service and sacrifice, laying to rest one of their own at the end of watch.
We will always honor the memory of Waldus, and we will never forget him.
Johnson leaves behind a wife and 3 children. There is a Facebook fundraiser up right now, about a week left on that. So far, they've raised over $1,000 more than they were expecting. In Detroit, Grant Herms, Local 4.
Now, the city was unable to pass a memorial resolution in honor of Johnson today because city council isn't meeting, but he was promoted to corporal and also given a Spirit of Detroit award. The council planning to pass a memorial resolution for Johnson when they do return.
If what happened last night in Georgia is an indication, we could be in for some trouble come November.
Coming up new tonight, find out what officials here in Michigan are promising to do to try to help make this year's election run smoothly, even in the midst of a pandemic.
And the deal is off. Big news tonight involving two of Metro Detroit's most popular shopping malls.
Project Greenlight cameras linked to police. The idea is to keep you safe, but protesters are demanding that the city turn the cameras off. Tonight, the defenders are asking the man who came up with the Greenlight idea what he thinks of that.
And we are continuing to track a strong line of thunderstorms advancing through southeast Michigan, but we're also starting to see very discrete cells pop up ahead of that line. We'll show you what that means coming up in just a few minutes.